Hi there, my name is Marley and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be starting out a new reading vlog that has a pretty fun theme, and that is going to be reading the lowest rated books on my Goodreads TBR. This could be a disaster. Like, these could be really terrible, but in January I actually filmed a video where I read the highest rated books on my TBR, so I definitely wanted to take this challenge and like do the opposite. A lot of other people have done this. It's not unique by any means, but I think it's really fun just to read the books that people think are the worst and see if you like them or if you agree with them and think they're pretty bad. So I've already looked at my Goodreads and ordered it in the average rating category, so the lowest books show up, and here are the results. The first book I'm going to read and the lowest rated book is called The 10th Girl by Sara, and it has a 2.88 rating on Goodreads, which is pretty low. I feel like whenever it's less than like 3.5, it's like, that's pretty low. And honestly, I can't remember why I added this to my TBR. I think it was just one random recommendation that I got. This is obviously not a book that is talked about much. You guys probably have not heard of it or seen it on BookTube or anywhere before. I really can't remember why this book was recommended to me, but here it is. I know that it is a paranormal kind of like thriller book about this girl who is a teacher at a boarding school, and then creepy things start happening at the school, and I think it has to do with like possession or something like that. So sounds pretty interesting. As I said in my TBR, I am kind of excited to read this because it's paranormal and I don't read a lot of paranormal books, but I'm definitely nervous because I feel like this premise could get weird and could get bad. The next lowest rated book on my list is actually The Woods Are Always Watching by Stephanie Perkins, but this is her second book in this sort of like thriller, I don't know if it's a thriller series honestly, but it's her second YA thriller. So I'm gonna do a little bit of a cheat and I'm gonna read the first book in that series, which is There Is Someone Inside Your House. It's not really cheating because this is still very lowly rated on Goodreads as well. It has a 3.42 average rating, and this is one that I've actually already started, so we'll come back to it. And then the third one I'm going to read is going to be Genuine Fraud by Lockhart. This has a 3.27 on Goodreads, so pretty low. All I know is that it's about these two girls who are friends, and it seems like one of the girls has gone missing and the other girl has assumed her identity. So we're gonna be finding out what happened to that missing girl and why is this other girl taking on her life and her identity. So yeah, I heard pretty bad things about these books. I think it's sort of interesting that they're all thrillers and two of them are actually YA thrillers. I do feel like thrillers can be very hit or miss with people, so I'm not really surprised that they're rated so lowly, and I feel like it can be very easy to mess up thrillers if they're too predictable, which I have a feeling is going to happen with some of these, like too predictable or too cringy. So as I said, I just started this book last night. I've only read like 2 chapters, so not very far at all, but I can already see the flaws in this. It's about this girl who moves to this new town, then her classmates start getting killed. So it's very much like a slasher thing. And I can already tell you, I don't want to spoil, but like, I assume, you know, people aren't dying to read this by any means, but I will say it definitely tries to copy Scream a little bit and emulate Scream, as the very first chapter is from someone's point of view. I thought it was the main character, as I think you're supposed to, and then this girl gets murdered in the first chapter, and then we go on to the main character's point of view. So very much like Scream, where we're following that first girl played by Drew Barrymore. We think she's gonna be maybe the main character, but then she gets killed. So kind of copying Scream a little bit. And I'm not really liking the narration. I feel like something like this should be first person, but it's not. It's like a third person. But yeah, I'll keep you guys updated on this and hope you'll keep watching to see my thoughts on these 3 books.
Living life, every day, late at night, not okay. All I want, and I pray, all I need are some better days. Fuck me, I'm looking in the mirror, so foggy, but I've never seen clearer. I don't really think anyone can save me, and honestly, I'm not really sure I want saving. Hey, here I am in my classic vlogging spot. It's 8 a.m. on Friday.
Thank God it's Friday. I got to halfway through There's Someone Inside Your House, so thought I would update you guys. I will say there's definitely a lot of cringe in this, like especially regarding our main character, Makani. Just certain things that she'll kind of say in her head that I'm like, I don't know if I really like you. But I will say there's some interesting sort of diversity in this book. So one of the characters is trans, one of Makani's friends. And then Makani is actually biracial. So she's half black, half Hawaiian. But it's very interesting because Stephanie Perkins is not. If you see her in the back here, you're like, yeah, she's white. Actually looks kind of like me. So I feel like it's been a while since I read like a book that wasn't Own Voices, just because Own Voices is such a big thing now. So I don't know if that's like considered problematic or anything like that. I do feel like it's pretty well researched, but obviously I'm not Hawaiian or black, so I can't really speak to the representation. So I'd definitely be interested later on this vlog to maybe look up some reviews of what other people think about that, but it seems to be okay, kind of rep and like well researched, but I would obviously not really know. In terms of the slasher, so we've had a few different high schoolers be killed now, and we always get to see the scenes where they're killed from like their point of view. And I feel like, you know, I've read, I would say like one other slasher book, and I feel like the slasher genre is better for a screen, like movies and TV. I just think if I'm reading a thriller book, I don't think like just witnessing a bunch of murders is really what I'm looking for, if you guys know what I mean. And whenever we have that killer chapter, like I don't know, it gets a little bit sort of ridiculous, and our killer is like pretty unhinged. Like I don't want to spoil, but there was something that they did, I'm like, this is pretty crazy. Like I'll just say, like he or she or they killed someone and then just like started playing their video game for like hours after, like sitting beside the dead body, because the guy was playing video games when he killed him. Like, this is pretty weird. Like, whoever this killer is. And speaking of, like, there's not that many suspects in this book, so I feel like our pool is very limited. As I mentioned, I do think, you know, it reminds me a little bit of Scream, so I'm wondering if it's gonna be the boyfriend. The boyfriend did it, just like in Scream. We already have them suspecting the boyfriend a little bit, which normally in mysteries, once they suspect someone, I'm like, oh, it's not them, because they're already thinking about it. But that happened in Scream, where like Billy was a suspect and then he got cleared, but then it really was him. So I'm still thinking it could be the boyfriend, and then I'm thinking it could be one of Makani's friends, because we really don't have that many characters to be picking from, and since she is still relatively new to the school, like she doesn't really know her friends that well, like she's known them only for a year. And then another thing is that it keeps mentioning Makani's mysterious past, like why she had to leave Hawaii, and that something happened and she's terrified that everyone at her new school is gonna find out about it. So that's obviously an option, that like maybe she is the killer, like maybe she's an unreliable narrator, like what went on in her past. But I feel like whenever they mention that, it kind of annoys me a little, because I'm like, a lot of the time when they're alluding to a main character's mysterious past, it's like nothing, it's like not a big deal, and it's like not going to be connected to these murders at all. So that's what I'm kind of feeling from this book. Like I don't think that's actually going to turn into anything major or majorly relevant. I really think that's just a red herring for us to be like, oh, what's going on with our main character, like what's with her mysterious past. And I feel like they're laying it on really thick, like constantly having her be like, oh, do they know? And I'm like, girl, probably no one knows or cares. So yeah, that's my thoughts on the first half, but it's going very quickly. Like I feel like I didn't even read for that long last night, but I got pretty far. So if you know me, I love quick reads like that, so that's pretty good. But I think a lot of this will depend on how this book ends and wraps up and what happens with this killer. Anyways, thank God it's Friday. So I finished the book, and yeah, this is definitely a very, very mediocre book. I see why it is rated so low. I think I would give it a 3-star rating. I've definitely read worse books because it's so short that it never gets boring, it never gets like difficult to get through, so I can't rate it too low. But we had the killer reveal, and it was very lackluster. Like, was not impressed at all, was constantly waiting for there to be something more to who the killer was, and there just wasn't. We didn't get like a huge backstory to it, and the ending was also very abrupt. I wish we could have explored the ending a little bit more. We also found out, oh, I'm holding this upside down the whole time. We also found out Makani's background. background, like her secrets from her past. And it was really sad, but it was also kind of like very weird and random and kind of as I expected, not super relevant. So that part was kind of weird, to be honest. So I don't hate romances in thrillers. I know a lot of people don't like that, especially in YA thrillers. It's pretty common. I don't mind it, but in this one it was pretty boring. Like, if you're gonna have a romance in a thriller, at least make it more interesting. I just didn't really care for this romance. They were pretty boring and they just kept making out, and that was their main thing. I guess that's realistic for teenagers, being very horny, but I don't know. I just wish it could have been like a cuter romance at least to keep me a little bit more hooked. Looking back at Stephanie Perkins books, I think I only really fangirled over Anna and the French Kiss and that couple. I don't actually think I liked the couples in the other two books, so I guess that tracks with her romance writing. But yeah, I guess this is still a little bit fun if you want to see those slashery, gory, violent scenes, because it definitely is gory and violent, but it's just very mediocre in like every other way. So that's my review of this. Next, I will be starting, I think I'm gonna go with Genuine Fraud next and save The 10th Girl for last.
I like to be my own worst enemy. There's no risk if you don't try at anything, so I'ma just keep buying everything. See you in the next life, have to be a better me. I don't think that my head's on straight. Gotta flip it and grip it and go and get an x-ray. What's wrong with me? I just feel weight pushing on my chest and it squeezes till I suffocate. Better change my mindset, meditate. It's pretty cool that I'm alive and have better days. I could walk, see, hear, I should celebrate. Think I could change my mind, maybe elevate. Living life, every day, late at night, not okay. All I want, and I pray, all I need are some better days. Yeah, all I need are some better.
Hey, so last night, this happened. My cat likes to jump all over us at night because she's meowing for food and wants us to wake up, and she will often like step on our faces. So she left me with this little scratch. Really hoping it will heal and not scar. I'm gonna have to clean it up, but yeah, I thought I would show you that. Also been struggling with some low blood sugars this morning because I drank a whole bottle of wine last night, and alcohol brings your blood sugars down. So dealing with that, but I think they are stable now. So no plans this weekend, so I guess I will just be reading. Well, thank God I paused for my thumbnail before I got this. I reached the halfway point of Genuine Fraud. It's a pretty interesting book, I have to say. I am enjoying it. It's confusing me a little bit, but I think it's on purpose. The one thing that's annoying me though is the main character's name is Jewel, and I just really think it should be Jules with an S, right? Like, whenever you see someone with that name, it's normally Jules with an S, not Jewel. I don't know, just a random thing that's annoying me. But anyways, basically for the plot, Jewel is pretending to be Imogen at the beginning of the book. The circumstances surrounding it are a little mysterious. It seems like she's on the run from something. Obviously, we don't know where Imogen is. And then as we go through the book, we keep going back in time further and further. So it's kind of like the story is being told in reverse. We're going back in time rather than forwards. So we're slowly getting a little bit more information here and there, learning more about Jules. See, I wanted to call her Jules. Jules's relationship with Imogen and how they were friends and whatever, and about her past. And we've had some like shocking kind of reveals happening recently, so I'm pretty interested. It is similar to We Were Liars with the writing style, which I liked. It's like very quick, very to the point, but still kind of like mysterious. So I do actually think we're gonna have some bigger reveals towards the end that I am excited to see. So I feel like this is going better than the previous book, There's Someone in Your House. I just feel like this is more of the vibe that I like just more of a mystery to it and not so much just a slasher killing people. All right, I finished the book. That was a quick one. And I definitely enjoyed it more than the previous book. I'm gonna give it 3.5 stars. I feel like it was definitely unique, kind of wild ride that we went on in this story. It definitely went places I did not expect going into it, like pretty dark places, but that must be common with Lockhart, actually, thinking about We Were Liars. But I just feel like it wasn't as good as We Were Liars. I don't think there was as big of twists. It's one of those stories where like things get revealed slowly rather than there being like one big twist at the end. I don't know, there's just something that kind of holds me back from reading this any higher. I think maybe because it's so short, or something. Like I just kind of wanted more to it, but I definitely don't think this is a bad book by any means. Like this is a pretty good YA mystery that I think I would recommend for a lot of young people to read who maybe don't have a ton of experience reading thrillers or mysteries. I think this would be a good way to get into it. Yeah, I think it's a pretty unique story. Maybe I should rate it 4. I don't know. Something's holding me back. I'm wondering if it is sort of like a mental thing in my head that I know I'm reading books that are rated poorly, and that's making me think the books are worse than they are. You know, like a psychological thing. So maybe this could be a 4, but I just think there's not enough to it for it to be that high. I don't know. But yeah, even though these were poorly rated, I'm glad they're very like quick reads for me to get through. Now we just have one more book to go, and it might be the most interesting one because it's the one that like I don't think anyone will have heard of it, and it's the more different one. Like it's not a YA thriller, it's more of like a, I think, adult paranormal. So, and I should say this is YA, but the characters actually aren't teenagers. They might be 19, like they might still be technically teenagers, but they're not like high schoolers or anything like that. Just in case you didn't want to read about teenagers, you don't have to. They're a little bit more mature in here. So yeah, on to the next book, and I think I'm gonna watch the adaptation of There's Someone Inside Your House tonight, so I'll let you know what I think about that as well.
I'm kinda stuck between a rock and a hard place. Do I work hard or live at my pace? You're only young once, yeah, that's all great, but I also want a future where I'm okay. Living life is doing lots of cocaine. Wait, no, it's living with no shame. Wait, no, it's sleeping in on Sundays. I guess it's different for each of us and that's okay. Well, I just wanna be happy. How to get there? Glad that you asked me. I think it's different for everyone. Some of us need work, others need fun. Some of us need purpose to overcome. But try to do what you love when it's said and done, cause there's so many differences in each of us.
Hey there, it's been a few days, I've got to admit, and the reason for that is I'm hating the book. I read a whole other book in the meantime because I just had to read something else. I was going into a slump. Before we get into it though, I did watch There's Someone Inside Your House, the movie, and I never gave my review yet. It wasn't great. It wasn't great. I would probably say it was worse than the book, which is a shame because I feel like a lot of books that are good, they can't make the adaptation live up to the book and it'll be worse. But there's definitely cases where like the book's not that good and you can make a better adaptation and kind of redeem it. But they didn't do that, unfortunately. But I think one of the biggest reasons I had issues with it is because they changed it so much and it wasn't for the better. Just an example is the killer in the book was not even a character in the movie. Minor spoiler alert, but it's like that character was not even in the movie. So I'm like, okay, they're clearly doing something different here. Another major theme in the book was that the killer was killing someone from each high school clique. So a theater person, a jock, a gamer, all that. And that was kind of a fun idea, right? I think cliques are a very, very common overdone trope, but I feel like they are always kind of entertaining to see. And in the movie, all of those people were basically in one friend group. So again, I was like, okay, they're not going with that. They just changed a lot of things and it was just not great. So anyways, for the 10th girl, I'm at 44%. As soon as I started it, I wanted to DNF it, not gonna lie, but I am pushing through. I made the executive decision to push through and actually try and finish this, because what's the rush, right? Like, I'll take my time, I'll push through and I'll finish, but yeah, I'm just not enjoying it. And I think it's interesting because as big readers, I feel like people who read a lot DNF the most, and I think it's because we're so used to reading really good books and finishing them really quick, and then you hit a book that's just not as good and it's like, I can't do this. But I feel like a lot of casual readers will read those books because they don't know what it's like to read good books. You know what I mean? Anyway, so I have been DNFing more this year, but I'm not gonna DNF this one. It's about our main character, Mavi, who I think is about 18, and she kind of scams her way into this teaching position at this girls' boarding school, and it's the first time opening up in years because it got shut down. Something to do with like sacrificing young girls. There's some weird like sacrificial cult stuff in this book, but anyway, so she's working there. Then we get these point of views from this other girl named Angel, and she's like a ghost. or she's an other. And I thought the whole thing, you know, you read like a haunting book and it's like a mystery of the ghosts. You don't really know what's going on with them. Just creepy things are happening, and then later you find out. I thought this book was weird because we're seeing the point of view of one of these ghosts or others. And so it kind of took away from like the mystery and creepiness of it, because I'm like, well, we're seeing her point of view. But as the book goes on, like, it's winning me over a little bit more. There is still this mystery of like the 10th girl, because for some reason it's a very limited amount of girls who get accepted at this school, so there's only 9 of them. But Mavi was told that there was going to be 10, so she's like, who's the 10th girl? Even our little ghost girl Angel is like, who is the 10th girl? Like, so it's kind of a mystery there. We're finding a little bit more about that. And there's a lot of like possession stuff going on. But again, we're really seeing that firsthand through Angel's point of view. Like, she is possessing people. So it's not really like a mystery of like, oh, are people being possessed? It's like, we're seeing that they are. So I think it was sort of like a mental shift for me to like accept what this book was doing, because it was just different than I expected. And then something with the writing too was just kind of boring me. Some of the chapters are a bit long, which I always hate. There's also some confusing things with what time period we're in, because it says the year is like, I'm not sure if I have it here, is 1978 when it's Mavi's chapters, and it's in Argentina, I should say. But then when it's Angel's chapters, it's 2020. But they are interacting. So there's some sort of weird time thing going on as well. And Angel's definitely from 2020. Like, she's making a lot of 2020 references, like pop culture references and stuff that I know. So it's this weird like time thing that's going on there. I don't know. There's certain things that are just a little bit confusing, and I don't know if they're meant to be confusing or not. But basically, I see why this was my lowest rated book on my TBR. But I'll let you know how it is at the end. It might take me another few days to finish it because it's just slow moving. Maybe I'll finish another book in the meantime. I don't know. But yeah, this is the rough part of the vlog. The other 2 books were fine compared to this.
Trust your gut, it can show you what you want. Living life, every day, late at night, not okay. All I want, and I pray, all I need are some better days. Yeah, all I need.
I finished The 10th Girl, and this book was something else. I actually, in retrospect, am glad I finished it just to see the like ridiculousness of it. It's a very polarizing book. It is going to be very polarizing. I see why there are so many negative reviews, and I definitely went through and was reading a bunch of them. One thing I want to mention, I don't remember in my last update if I said the gender of the character Angel. So that was the other, or like the spirit that we were following, but I swore that this character was a girl. Like, in my head for like the whole book, I pictured Angel as a girl, but Angel was possessing a male body. Then when Mavi finally finds out about Angel, that they are possessing the body, she refers to Angel as a him. And I kept waiting for Angel to correct her and be like, I'm actually a girl. And they never did. And so I was like, this is so weird. And then I started paying more attention, and in Angel's chapters, they never gender themselves. They never get gendered. They're just referred to as Angel or the kid, or, you know, it's Angel's point of view. So they're not saying like he or she or anything. And so I'm kind of like confused about that. And I don't know if this was done on purpose by the author, if Angel is supposed to be this sort of gender neutral character, or if like they are meant to be a guy and I just totally missed that. But I feel like that shows something. I don't know what it shows, but it shows something. It shows, I think, maybe the author messing something up, because why did I completely not understand the gender of a character unless it was meant to be a sort of gender neutral character? It's a very weird thing. Then I'm gonna say something. Some people think it's a spoiler to say that there's a twist in the book. I don't think that. Like, I get why people would say that, because then you're expecting a twist. I don't think that's a spoiler though, because I want to know if there's a twist in a book that I'm gonna read, because that makes me want to read it more. And then I'm like constantly wondering what the twist is gonna be. I think that makes it more fun. Some people don't like that. I'm just gonna say there's a huge twist in this book that really turns everything on its head, and it was honestly so weird, and I have very mixed feelings about the twist of whether I like it or not. It's very crazy. It does make a lot of things make sense from the first half of the book that I found confusing, so it kind of comes together, but it at the same time is just such a dramatic shift to the book that it was just not what I wanted from this type of book. And that's what a lot of the reviews are saying. There's a certain HBO show that has this same premise and the same twist. I won't say what it is, but like, I don't know, maybe you can figure it out from that. Probably not, but like, I obviously don't want to say what it is, but it was just too much of a like genre tone shift when I wanted like a paranormal, like ghost story. But it does make some of the things make sense. It just was too much of a shift and just not what I wanted from the book. So because of that, I did give it 2.5 stars, very much in the middle or kind of like a lower rating for me, because my overall enjoyment of this book, as you saw, was not great. And I'm a little bit on the fence about this twist of whether I liked it or not. A lot of people are also complaining about the indigenous like rep in this book and saying that it's a bit offensive. And I will say there's definitely content warnings for a lot of different things, such as SA, pedophilia, miscarriage, like so many different things. And people kind of discuss whether those things were treated well in the book. And I kind of think maybe they weren't. Maybe they weren't. So yeah, this was definitely the worst book, but it's interesting because I feel like if you like the twist, maybe you would really, really like this and rate it highly. I don't know. So anyways, that's going to conclude my reading the lowest books on my TBR vlog. This was definitely interesting to do, and I really welcome your feedback on what you thought about these books, and if you would read them or not. Yeah, please like, comment, subscribe, follow me on Instagram so we can connect there. And thank you guys so much for watching if you made it this far. I will see you in next week's video.